Have you ever wondered why history's greatest minds, Steve Jobs, Nikola Tesla, or Bill Gates, all had specific periods where they mysteriously disappeared right before they changed the world? They didn't go on vacation. They didn't take a break. They entered a state of strategic isolation. Here is the uncomfortable reality you are facing right now. The modern world is not designed for your success. It is aggressively engineered for your distraction. You are trying to build an empire, trying to master high-value skills, all while your brain is being physically fried by a constant stream of cheap dopamine and digital noise. You are trying to run a marathon with a broken leg. In this video, I am not going to give you generic advice about turning off your phone. I am going to teach you the monk mode protocol. Think of this as a 30-day neurosurgical procedure. We are going to physically sever the neural pathways of distraction and build the circuits of a super skill. And most importantly, I am going to hand you the exact 24-hour blueprint, a specific minute-by-minute schedule that the top 1% use to maximize output. But be warned, before you can execute this schedule, you must understand the neuroscience of why isolation changes the physical structure of your brain. If you ignore this science, you will statistically fail by day 3. Let's upgrade your hardware. To understand why you need to disappear, we first need to look at the mechanics of your neural architecture. Most people think learning is about building new connections. But in neuroscience, mastery is actually about destruction. There is a process called synaptic pruning. Think of your brain like a garden. Every time you learn a new fact, meet a new person, or scroll through a social media feed, your brain grows a synaptic connection. In a healthy brain, these connections are curated. But in the modern world, your garden is overgrown. You are constantly flooded with useless data, celebrity gossip, negative news, and the lives of people you don't even like. Right now, your brain looks like a neglected garden overrun by weeds. Every single one of those weeds is stealing nutrients, stealing glucose and oxygen from the plants you actually want to grow. This is why you feel brain fog. This is why you can't focus. You are biologically over-indexed on noise. Monk mode is not about studying harder. Monk mode is a strategic drought. By cutting off the external water supply of information, you force your brain to identify the weeds and kill them. This is synaptic pruning. When you isolate yourself, your brain realizes that the neural pathways for Instagram trends or social validation are no longer being used, so it physically dismantles them. It clears the space so that 100% of your metabolic energy can be funneled into the giant redwoods, the 1 or 2 massive skills that will actually build your empire. This clearing of space paves the way for our second concept, the myelin spike. We have discussed myelin in previous videos. It is the white, fatty tissue that wraps around your neural circuits like insulation tape on a wire. The thicker the myelin, the faster the electrical signal, and the more automatic the skill becomes. Here is what the gurus won't tell you. Social interaction is biologically expensive. Evolutionarily, tracking social status, reading micro-expressions, and managing relationships requires a massive amount of processing power from your prefrontal cortex. When you enter monk mode, you are not just being antisocial, you are freeing up a massive surplus of cognitive energy. When you remove the need to perform for society, your brain redirects that surplus resources to myelination. This is why a programmer in monk mode can write more code in a month than a team does in a year. You enter a state of hyper-learning because your brain has nothing else to do but reinforce that specific circuit. I want to pause here and ask you for some radical honesty. We talk about focus, but let's look at the data. When was the last time you went 72 hours, 3 full days, without speaking to a single human being or checking a single social media feed? Was it last year? Or was it never? I want to see the reality of this community. Go down to the comments and type never if you have never done it. Or type the number of days of your longest streak. Let's see where we actually stand. Now, understanding myelin is powerful. But here is the warning. Most people who try monk mode fail because they commit a deadly error. They isolate physically, but they forget to flip one specific biological switch. If you miss this, the silence won't make you a genius. It will make you depressed. We are going to handle that switch right now. To ensure monk mode is a period of transformation, and not just a month of loneliness, you need a constitution. You need a set of non-negotiable laws that govern your existence for the next 30 days. We call these the 3 pillars. If you compromise on even one of them, the entire structure collapses. Pillar 1 is radical elimination. This is where 90% of people fail. When I say elimination, I don't just mean a digital detox. Most people think turning off social media is enough. It is not. The rule here is no input. For 30 days, you are cutting the cord to the outside world. No news, no movies, no Netflix. And here is the one that hurts the most. No lyrical music. Why? Because lyrics are language. When you listen to someone singing, your brain's language centers are active, decoding the words and the emotions attached to them. That is a cognitive load you cannot afford. You can listen to binaural beats, classical music, or white noise, anything that does not carry a verbal message. You might ask, but what do I do when I'm not working? You do nothing. You sit with the silence. You embrace the boredom. In our previous videos, we discussed how your dopamine receptors are fried. By cutting off all external entertainment, you create a dopamine vacuum. You need this boredom. Boredom is not the enemy. It is the catalyst. When your brain realizes it isn't getting cheap dopamine from a screen, it is forced to generate endogenous dopamine, internal drive, to push you toward your work. You will find that suddenly, writing that code or building that business plan becomes the most exciting thing in the world, simply because it is the only stimulation available. Pillar 2 is singular focus. Monk mode is not the time to get your life together in every area. It is not the time to learn Spanish, start a business, training for a marathon, and learn to cook all at once. If you try to chase 2 rabbits, you will catch none. You must choose exactly one major objective. Do you want to write the book? Then you write the book. Do you want to build the sales funnel? Then you build the funnel. Multitasking is a lie. Neurologically, it doesn't exist. What you are doing is context switching, and every time you switch from one task to another, you pay a cognitive tax, losing up to 20 minutes of deep focus. For these 30 days, you are a sniper, not a machine gunner. You pour 100% of your available neuroenergy into one single point of attack. That is how you break through plateaus that have held you back for years. Pillar 3 is bio-optimization. We need to treat your body like a machine that supports your brain. The goal here is to eliminate decision fatigue. You have a limited amount of willpower each day. If you waste it deciding what to eat for lunch, you are stealing energy from your work. For 30 days, you eat the same meals. Or you rotate between 2 simple options. You are not eating for entertainment, you are eating for fuel. By automating your nutrition, you remove 3 to 4 decisions from your day. That energy is preserved for your one goal. And finally, sleep is non-negotiable. You need 8 hours. Sleep is not rest. Sleep is when your brain cleans out neurotoxins and consolidates the myelin you built during the day. If you cut sleep to hustle, you are undoing the work you just did. You now have the laws. You understand the boundaries. But knowing the rules is different from living them. How do you actually structure a day like this without losing your mind? You have the rules. Now, this is the most critical part of this video. I am going to draw out for you the perfect day in monk mode, from the moment you open your eyes at 5 a.m. until your head hits the pillow. I want you to get a pen and a piece of paper right now. Do not just listen. You need to physically write this down to hardwire it into your brain. This is your treasure map. Now, let's operationalize this. I am going to walk you through the exact daily schedule of a monk mode practitioner. This is the 24-hour blueprint. Most people structure their day around time. We are going to structure your day around energy. 05 a.m. to 0600 a.m., the biological prime. You wake up, no snoozing, and absolutely, under no circumstances, do you touch your phone. Remember video 4. The phone is lava. For this first hour, your priority is to prime the biological machine. First, hydration. Your brain is dehydrated after 8 hours of sleep. Drink 16 O's of water with sea salt or lemon to fire up your electrolytes. Next, movement and light. Get outside. Get direct photons into your eyes to trigger your cortisol wake-up pulse and reset your circadian rhythm. You are not thinking yet. You are just booting up the operating system. 06:00 a.m. to 10:00 a.m. Deep Work Block 1, the Holy Hour. This is it. This 4-hour block is where the empire is built. Why 6 a.m.? Because the world is asleep. No emails are coming in. The chaos hasn't started. Your willpower battery is at 100%. You sit down. You open your one major objective, and you engage singular focus. To hack your brain into the flow state faster, put on headphones playing binaural beats, 40 Hz gamma waves, or pure white noise. This is not music. It is an audio tool to drown out internal chatter. For 4 hours, you do not move. You do not snack. You execute. This is where myelin is being wrapped around your neural circuits at the highest rate. 4 hours of this depth is worth 40 hours of normal distracted office work. 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Active recovery and fuel. By 10 a.m., you have effectively finished a full workday. Your brain's glucose is depleted. Now you eat your first bio-optimized meal. Then you go for a walk. But remember, Pillar 1, no headphones, no podcasts. This is crucial. You need to let your brain enter diffuse mode. This is where your subconscious connects the dots from your deep work session. If you plug a podcast into your ears, you block that processing. Just walk. Let the ideas settle. 11:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. Shallow work and admin. We have to be realistic. You have a business to run, bills to pay, or a boss to answer to. We contain the chaos to this specific block. Answer your emails. Take your Zoom calls. Run your errands. This is the cage for distraction. By batching all your low-value tasks here, you prevent them from leaking into your holy hours. You are being productive, but you are protecting your creative energy. 02:30 p.m. to 04:30 p.m. Deep Work Block 2 or Skill Learning. If you have a job, this might be your actual work hours. If you are full-time monk mode, this is where you learn. Study the market. Learn the code. Read the technical manual. You are using the afternoon energy dip for input or secondary output. 5:00 p.m. The digital sunset. The workday ends. You do not drag it out. You shut down the computer. You turn off the phone. But before you walk away, you must perform one final ritual to protect your sleep. Journaling. You need to close the open loops. This is the Zeigarnik effect we discussed in previous videos. If you leave tasks unfinished in your head, your brain will ruminate on them all night, destroying your sleep quality. Write down exactly what you need to do tomorrow. Dump your brain onto the paper. Once it is written, your brain is free to power down. This schedule is rigid because it has to be. Freedom is found through discipline. I know this is a lot to memorize. That is why I want you to pause this video right now. Kuingtin, grab a pen and a piece of paper. And physically write this 24-hour blueprint down. Do not just take a mental note. Neuroscience proves that the act of writing by hand deepens neural encoding. Stick this paper on your wall where you can see it every single morning. This is your first test of commitment. If you cannot spend 2 minutes writing down your own plan for success, you will not survive the next 30 days. And if you found value in this breakdown, hit that like button right now. It tells the algorithm that we are building a community of high performers, and it helps spread this protocol to the people who need it most. Now you have the schedule. You have the pillars. But I have to warn you, there is a specific day, usually around day 14, where 90% of people quit. They don't quit because it's too hard. They quit because of a biological lie their brain tells them. If you don't know how to spot this lie, you will never finish the 30 days. Let's talk about the danger zone. You will start this protocol with high energy. The first week will feel like magic. Your productivity will triple. But I need to warn you about the silent killer waiting for you around day 10. Between day 10 and day 14, your brain will start to scream. It has been starved of its usual diet of cheap social dopamine, and it will panic. But it won't scream, "I am weak." It is smarter than that. It will negotiate with you. It will whisper, "Hey, you've been doing so great. You've been productive for 10 days. You deserve a break. Just one check of Instagram won't hurt. You've earned it." Do not listen. This is what we call the resistance. It is your biological homeostasis kicking in, trying to pull you back to the safety of the herd. It wants you to be average because average is safe. If you listen to that whisper, if you break the seal just once, the dopamine loop reopens, and you lose everything. Push through the pain. That discomfort isn't a sign to stop. It is the feeling of your old self dying. Now, let's fast forward to day 31. You made it. You built the empire. You learned the skill. What do you do next? Most people make a fatal mistake here. They celebrate by binge-watching Netflix for 12 hours or scrolling TikTok until their eyes bleed. If you do this, you will experience dopamine shock. After 30 days of pruning, your receptors are highly sensitive. If you flood them with superstimuli immediately, you will fry them faster than before, and you will crash harder than ever. The re-entry must be calculated. Do not go back to your old life. Keep the morning deep work block forever. That is your new baseline. Reintroduce the world slowly, on your terms. You have spent 30 days becoming a master. Do not go back to being a slave. Listen to me closely. Monk mode is not a punishment. It is a transaction. It is the calculated price of admission for a life of freedom. Society tries to convince you that balance is the goal. They tell you to relax, to take it easy, to fit in. But look around you. Normal is average. Normal is being broke, distracted, and unfulfilled. Normal is staring at a screen for 6 hours a day and wondering where your life went. If you want the results of the top 1%, you simply cannot keep living with the habits of the 99%. You have to be willing to be misunderstood for a month so you can be admired for a lifetime. So here is my challenge to you. Do not let this be just another video you watched to feel productive before scrolling to the next distraction. Information without execution is just entertainment. I want you to make a contract with yourself right now. Go down to the comments section. Stop hiding. I want you to write your new truth. Type the words, "I am entering monk mode," and write down your start date. By writing this down, you are not just leaving a comment. You are signaling to your reticular activating system that this is real. You are casting a vote for your new identity. I will be reading the comments to see who is actually serious about building their empire. Now, a final piece of advice. When you cut out the noise, you are going to find a void. You will have hours of free time you didn't know existed. You need to fill that vacuum with high-octane fuel. You need knowledge. But most people read a book and forget 90% of it a week later. That is a waste of time. In the next video, I am going to teach you how to read a book a week and actually remember every single word using a neuroscience technique called synaptic tagging. It is not speed reading, it is smart reading. Click the video on the screen right now. Let's keep building.